go.
Hello, everyone. Sergei Burbank back again, literary manager and dramaturg of Conch Shell Productions. And a big thank you, first of all, to these amazing artists, our incredible technical team for creating this evening of new works. And of course, everyone in the audience who joined us and is sticking around for this brief conversation. So as we chat, please post questions, comments, good vibes in the chat. We'll bring them into the conversation as we can. Have fun with your usernames to trip us up as we try to attribute them to you. That's always fun. So it's only left for me to introduce Christin E, Cato, who will kick off our discussion with our artists. So born and raised in the Bronx with a Puerto Rican and Jamaican heritage, Christin E. Cato has a background in performing arts and production and is currently pursuing an MFA in playwriting at Indiana University. Cato is an ensemble member of Pergonis PRTT and Intar Theater Unit 52. She is a producing member of Rhymes Over Beats and is affiliated with the Hip Hop Theater Company. Cato's artistic style is heavily influenced by Caribbean culture, the Afro-Latino diaspora, urban inner-city life, and the effects of preconditioned socioeconomic demographics. She dedicates much of her work to diversifying theater, film, and educational institutions, particularly focusing on how to include Latinx voices. So with that, I hand it over to Christin E. Cato and invite all of our artists to join us in this chat as we begin. Christin.
Thank you. Thank you so much for a lovely introduction. Hi, everyone.
Hang tight. I'm going to bring everybody in.
So hello, everyone. Wonderful work. Wow. Congratulations, seriously, to all the playwrights, the directors, the actors, the producers, the tech people. All of that production value and design is superb. Beautiful work, everyone. And the topics were fiery. The actors were fiery. I'm so excited. I wish I could just hear a round of applause for y'all because it was awesome.
Sound effects.
Hey, for real, awesome work. So, last night was the debate. I don't know how many of us watched it. I don't know how many of us are keeping tabs on what these white men are saying about our country right now. But I think that, watching these two plays tonight, because I did watch the debate last night, like, seeing these performances tonight it was just such a stark reminder. And I love the comedy, and I love the comedy in your piece, Magaly. And I really love the sci-fi future like aspect of Juan's piece. And so something that I want to start the conversation with is what are your beliefs right now about like race in America, and how does that tie into voting? And so I'm just wondering, where do you think the fate of the world is right now, and how important is our vote for real? And I just want to know what y'all think.
I think it's important that we remember our vote is important. I think they're creating this propaganda out there that it means nothing and that we might as well just stay home. And it's all propaganda, right? And we've got to remember the whole concept of the vote, of the voice of the people that's been around since the Romans, and ignore the propaganda. That's my opinion. And it's the propaganda that's making particular generations choose to step back and away. And I think it's because they're so influenced by the social media. That's my vote, my word on it. And so I find Juan's piece really powerful when he addresses that the lead character was completely uninterested in his time. And the whole process of being interested is just so foreign that he has to be threatened with the possibility of going to prison to be interested.
Right. And there's also this, and so something that you said a moment ago about him responding to how inactive he was 20 years ago, right? Or like, and now in present day 2020, and how possibly, I mean, there is something that is suggesting here that this could be, I mean, like this sort of like, not bleak, but this sort of future that hasn't changed much, but is yet still on the verge of like all of this. So I mean, we're learning that that Juan's world, and Juan, you know, come in whenever, because this is your piece. Like,
right.
you know, like we're looking at the future of like what it could be if all of these people. So I think there's something that you're suggesting here, right? So let me just clarify my thought. And Magaly just like, you know, really popped this up for me. But if he is just one example of how those people in 2020 did not vote and were not active. And so is this population, demographic of people, right? Assuming that they're a large population, if they would have voted, would this new 2040 world still exist?
Right. And I think to jump on, I'm gonna try to answer both questions in one shot.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Let's see how I do. What's up? How you doing? I to jump on also what Magaly was saying, I also want to say that, I mean, it's a little bit is that same old thing we keep saying about how the system is broken. So I also feel like a big sense of confidence for people is like, if we hold people accountable, right? It's the same thing with like police brutality. It's the same idea. We hold people accountable, people will show up. So I feel like that's something I always constantly think about, because it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get in debates with people to be like, I don't feel like voting. Well, I'm gonna vote this, I'm gonna vote that. And we got answers all day long, but then sometimes, but I feel like the core is like, but the system. And then it's like, So I feel like that's where my thoughts always are. And but showing up makes that happen, right? So I think that's a big thing for me. I hope the future doesn't end up like that. But sometimes I feel like, I don't know, who knows? You know, that's my, who knows?
Well, I think it's the job of the artist to warn this could happen. Like when I saw Terminator back in the 80s, I was in college and I was like, oh my God, there could be robots. And so, you know, it kind of made me have a meltdown. And here we go. Right now, we have a bunch of robots. AI is a huge stock right now. And the world is what they warned us. He warned us and we didn't pay attention. We just thought it was myth or fiction, right?
That's true. Because I do kind of see the pieces like a tragicomedy in a way. Because it's like we're speaking to like, you got to get the shit together. Because if not, it's going to be, you know, like something's got to happen. Something's got to give. Something's got to just, you know, I wouldn't say I have the answers, but I just think we should all definitely think about it, you know.
What strikes me about both of these pieces is the fact that even though they're about elections, which are about a majority, about a group of people acting, both plots are about one vote. They both distill into one single vote. And given, you know, Magaly's thought of wanting to explore comedy and all kinds of dark comedy, I'm so struck hearing how the stakes are inverted, because we're talking about the fate of the world or the fate of the country, but both of these plays are about one person.
And Juan wrote this beautiful line for Lonnie, which is, you know, we know everything, but we know nothing. You know, and I feel like that is at the heart of a lot of the way voters feel too, because of all of the back and forth. And we never know what to expect is going to come out of anybody's mouth today. And when I first read Juan's script, I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea I couldn't even predict what the other character was going to say as I read it that first time. And it was constantly surprised me. And I felt like this is a highly relevant play, you know, the way we experience culture and society right now. You never know when something's going to come from some awkward place or left field.
Yeah.
And you have to volley with it. And so his two characters had this wonderful volley, you know, and
and what was so eerie, sorry, Susan, thank you. That was such a great point you brought up, because what was so eerie too about that is that we learned that not much has changed.
in that respect. Yeah.
I mean, humanity is humanity.
Except the price of milk. The price of
Oh, yeah.
10 times the hour, the minimum wage. That's the perfect price for milk. Can I share some of the great comments we've gotten here? Amazing job, everyone, from Kayla. Great work, all, from Sarah H. Great job, everyone, from Glory K. I think I know who that Glory is. Good shows from Master. Wow, virtual applause from Edith Meeks. Good works, Mastermind. It sounds like a real thing from Mastermind. And when we get a question in, I'll be sure to type it in and throw it into the mix for us to address. We've been talking about Jarvis's character and Tanya's character and Tristan's character and Guyviaud's character, but we haven't heard from the actors. What's up? What's up?
That's true. That's true.
What's up? Well, I'll say something. I really resonated. I actually haven't seen Juan's piece, and I apologize to all of you guys about that. But I'm someone who cares a lot about voting. And it's really important to me. And I had the blessing of growing up with those practices and values. And so I've been doing a lot of phone banking. It just resonated with me when you said about calling for hours, calling many people, and just turning one person's opinion is what I'm experiencing. It's a lot of no, stop calling, would you leave me alone? But it's worth it to change one person's opinion. So I wanted to speak to that. And I love that both of these plays focus on that, because that's real. That's where we're at, little steps. And then I think it's so true about not getting the, like what Susan said, not getting the right information. Like, we should have at debates, there should be fact checkers right there. It's 2020. There should be, it's so hard to know what's real and what's not. Voting should be a holiday. If you vote, it should be a paid holiday. We should have free classes where you get non-biased information. And these plays make me want to have these conversations with people. So again, I think both of these plays really shows the magic of theater being relevant to what we are actually experiencing. Mm-hmm. So I commend you both.
Well said, Tristan. Well said. Absolutely. 100%. Wow. I also grew up in a household where we voted all the time. My grandmother came to Puerto Rico she came in the late 40s. She came to America, to New York, and she only made it to the second grade, but she taught herself how to read. She taught herself how to take this. She took the test, because back then you had to take a test to vote. And so she took her test, passed it. She passed it, voted ever since. She voted until she couldn't walk to the polls anymore. But and she voted in the mid elections. She voted for our congressman, our city councilman. She voted all the time. And so I commend you both as well for and what I love about it is that we have people of color talking about, yes, let's vote. Reminding us, as Magaly said earlier, our vote counts, our experience counts.
Yeah.
But go ahead, actors. Let's hear from you.
I too, voting and I come from my dad was a former politician in Florida. So, we were taught the value of what it means to speak up, to be community service members, and to really understand the issues. And what I have seen, because somebody asked me about do you remember the first time you voted? And I actually don't, because it was just something that you did. But the more I think about this, it was like, how do we make voting sexy? How do we make it celebrated? How do we do that from little kids? And I see when parents celebrate it, and they integrate that into the day-to-day language of their family. That's when people go, of course I'm going to vote. It's not a question. It's not coming from, oh, maybe should I do that or maybe I shouldn't. And I think that has to be part of our everyday language now.
I mean, I remember when I was 18, that was the first time I voted. I felt giddy. I was like, I'm so important. And I still feel that. I feel that when I was like, nobody sees me. I'm an invisible person, but I do that. I place my vote. I'm like, that's right. It's like it is a celebration. It is a holiday. I'm like, yeah, I'm an American.
Why don't they make it a holiday? I mean, people are like, oh, I have to leave work or I have to get to the polls on time. I mean, why don't they make it easy?
Voter suppression. That's why.
Thank you. You took it where I couldn't.
Because the people who cannot afford to take off from work will not, and that's usually the people who we need to get them to the polls because their votes. We need those votes, but you know what? They working. And we're not trying to give them the day off.
Well, then the polls should be open till midnight.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's absurd not to. Should use the whole day, 24 hours. That's the day you can get your vote in.
Yep.
So I really think it's really great now how they're talking about mailing in your vote, because those people who really can't and they have to go to work, there's no more excuses. You can't forget that you can mail in your vote. You will vote if you are prompted to. And I really love that 5 million people have cast their vote. I'm like, yeah, that's beautiful.
As that number keeps getting higher when you hear it, although I don't know if the news is correct, but you hear that number's going up, it makes me feel good.
I thought it was 41 million people have voted, both early and mail-in.
I don't think. No, I think it's the early voters that they counted, not the envelopes. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the early voters. Who
can't. You literally have to wait until election day for them to start counting.
Yeah, they can only open up the envelope and put it aside.
Wow.
Can I share some more comments before we move forward?
I was just gonna say there's some good comments.
Okay, let you take it since you were gonna go there. You go.
Wait. So where did you stop? You stopped at
good works from Mastermind. So the next thing is another great. I'm gonna let you.
Oh, sounds like a real thing, Mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Another great night. Beautiful job, everyone. Amy Finn. Kiner. Sorry, Amy. Great work, all. SR, senior. It's a numbers game. Glory, yeah. Yes, voting should be a holiday. We should all get together and draft a letter and just a petition and petition the Congress to make it a holiday.
Yeah, make it a holiday, just like you can make whatever holiday, Thanksgiving a holiday, Turkey Day, whatever that is.
Right.
You can make voting a holiday.
But I mean, if we really would want to, if we're really going to push to get voting to become a holiday, doesn't it then mean that we need to get all of our Senate, all of our House of Representatives in order to support what we're doing? So that means that on a more local level, if we all get our local Senate, our local, Congressperson, and we all reach out to them and force them to feel like they have to support this bill or this what we want to create, then it's like the petitions, I feel like, can easily get pushed to the wayside. But once you force your Congressperson to have to support something that you believe in and all the local people support it, then they have to make a change and they have to support it in Congress. But because I truly believe that the reason why they're doing this, that they're, is because they want to make us feel like we're not valued, so we won't vote. And they keep us busy and they throw a million things at us to keep that away from us, just so that the people that are, able to take the day off or that understand the true value of the vote can go out and, kind of push their agenda out there.
I agree.
So were you secretly, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jarvis.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I agree with that. Also, just because I think something that they don't talk about too often that I don't know how many people are unaware of it is how many people you're actually voting for on election day and how many people are on the ballot, and that it's just not, that it's not only the president, depending on where you're located. And so that vote is more than just the president. You're voting for some of your local people at the same time. And so it's really more important, and that affects you much more than even just the president does. So
Yeah. So I have a question for Juan. Were you secretly thinking about the fact that, Election Day should be a holiday, or are there impediments like voter suppression going on that's subliminal, and so they should just e-vote and have all these different ways to vote? Was that part? Or were you just like, oh, Magaly, stop, don't make up things?
I don't got a good answer. I don't know, because I think when I started writing this, I sat down and just like wrote it, and then it was like, what the hell do I have? And then I went back, and then like it was like 2 sessions. And I think I typically don't write very heavy political stuff in the forefront. I tend to have it in the background. And this was the first time I did that. So like, I think it's just suppressed political opinion and facts for like as long as I've been around, or like finally on the page in 20 pages. So but I think in a good way, because it's like everything I've ever been feeling, it sort of just came out. I think I really just feel like I know our people. I love our people, but I also know my country, and I love my country, but I know how my country could get to. So I feel like I needed to make something that was a little mix of both, the good and bad for both. You know what I mean? Because that's just, I feel like the truth's in the middle somewhere. I don't know. Does that make sense? Did I even make sense at all?
You did.
It made a lot of sense.
You did, Juan.
So yeah,
although I feel like your work tends to be political, even if you're not heavy political jargon. Like, I feel like your work tends to have a statement always.
All right. Well, then I'll take it. Magaly, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, what is the term that they use now? You're muted. Or this is some popular term I saw on Instagram, the hashtag something. Okay. So all I was saying was that art is political. Art is indeed prompting people to question what they think is the status quo and go to another level in their journey. And that becomes political, because what is political? Let's define it. What is political?
Right.
It's a terminology that's just used broad stroke, but what is political? It's decisions that influence money, right? The flow of money, the flow of power, right? That's politics, right? So the thoughts of the society influence the flow of money, the flow of power. Because once people start thinking and questioning, they're not just dullards walking around like a bunch of sheep, right? So art is innately political, because you're trying to touch the minds and the hearts of the people.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue into the next question, I think. Like, because I love what you just said, that, to be an artist is to be political, right? And like, in order, art is always a statement on something, whether it's the world, whether it's who we are, whether it's how we feel about the world, whether it's just emotions and relationships. But even those, what do you think politics is? It's relationships, And so it's not just money, it's also people, it's also relations. And so let's talk about that. How do you, as an artist, how are you going to go into this next election and post-election and into this new world that we're about to embark? And how are you going to take your art and continuing fostering the change and resistance that you need to bring forth?
I feel like for myself, just piggybacking off of what Magaly just said right then, and just that it's all kind of, everything is connected. As much as I feel like there's people who are like, oh man, I'm not political. Your life, everything that you do is political, whether you want it to be or not, and so I feel like it's a facade to act as if, you can just be separated or isolated from politics, because whether you participate or not, it affects you. And so I think just making everyone aware of that, there is no, people want to overthrow the system, but you can't overthrow the system by never facing it head on. So just really emphasizing that it's something that we all have to take part in if we all want to actually have effective change.
Yeah.
And hopefully art, I feel, affects people differently than the raw news. Art, you lend your imagination in a different way to reach people's hearts in a different way. And I think that can evoke change. I do.
Because you're not talking at people with art.
Right.
You're touching
something else.
You're talking to the core of what it means to be human, not the circumstances only. And the vulnerability of humanity.
Right. Yeah. And I think we're going to get more political, no matter what happens soon, because even just with the COVID stuff, it's like, I know people are like, oh, we're going to get so much COVID material, but at the same time, it's like, that's what's going to get us through the next year or two. Some will be bad, some will be good, whatever. But I think we need that. And I think about like World War I, World War II, all the art that came out of that. We need all that. It just keeps going. So I think, I like what Jarvis said, you just got to head on, embrace it, and just take it in, digest it, let it out, vomit it, and just keep moving. Yeah.
Do any of the actors want to read some of these awesome comments? Because, Sarah hasn't said anything.
Sarah should definitely read it.
Yes, Sarah.
She's the voice in the video, and her voice is amazing.
All, I want to say, sorry for the technical difficulty that made people miss your amazing voice at the top of the play.
It's okay. They saw me.
I saw you.
And it was really cool.
It was kind of cool.
We want to hear your voice now.
Yeah, I'm here. Let's see. Okay, so where do we?
I think we let off from. I think muses should be. Wait a minute. No, further up.
Voting should be a holiday is where we ended.
Yeah, from Gloria Cadigan. So we're starting from once again brilliant.
Okay, so once again brilliant. I just finished the show tonight. It was futuristic and optimistic. I absolutely like the way it ended. Congratulations. Continue success. You did it again. That's from Immacula
Olidario.
There it is. Thank you.
Immacula.
Yes, Tristan and Tanya. Amy Finkbeiner.
Amen.
Amy. Good writing, mastermind. I think muses should get a shout out, mastermind. 47 million and counting already votes, mastermind. At this point, it's literal conspiratorial voter suppression. That's also why they want us all to get back to work as soon as possible and stop protesting. That's Amy. And she says great writing as well. And the last one, voting should be mandatory. If we have to pay taxes, then the government should inquire about all of its citizens and what the people actually want. For our favorite username, Too Sexy for My Shirt.
Too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy. I'm too whoever you are, love that username.
There's more.
Oh, there is
more.
There is more. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody. I feel like I should hide all the ropes in my house, mastermind.
So morbid.
Art is about busting out of the status quo, elevating voices. Edith Meeks.
Art is about busting out of the status quo. Love that.
Yes.
And I have something to say.
Yes.
That I think things in the world, especially with our current president, would be a lot better if more people had empathy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's, I love that you say that, because that's what we have. That's what, that's an important aspect of our art, because with our art, we can do that. We have the capacity to tell stories and then create that empathy that we need to share with the world.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I know for me, My mom's a big news person. She watches CNN, MSNBC. They talk at her. She loves it. Everybody processes differently. So this is great. And also like the Reset series, it's all political because that's what's going on in the world right now, whether we like it or not. But it's nice that we can speak through it through art and connect to different people.
And with our voices and our people's voices. I think that's what's special too about this year.
Tanya Taylor.
We got stuff to say too. Mm-hmm.
She's cool. Tanya Taylor is cool.
Yeah.
I'm still laughing about last night though. So it's like I was watching it and on Twitter, and it was just I went and I watched it for the mute button, guys. Like I was here for the mute button. This is the only reason I was there. I felt like it was like they do with everything political. It was a bait and switch. They told us on a mute button, so we'd all come to watch to see the mute button enacted. It didn't happen. There was no mute button. But while I was there, I got some good laughs. Like genuinely, if any American who can vote actually watched that debate last night and came away thinking that there is any shred of sense in that current president's head, I'm like, this is a problem. This is a serious problem because I could not believe. I mean, when Joe Biden actually said, "Oh my God," at one point, I was like, "Dude, I feel you," because like it was ridiculous, and it's an example of the last 4 years, and I really hope the world is watching. Like every other country has said, "Look, America, you need us to take this over and help you," like because it's a simple choice. It's a simple choice. Like vote for your lives. At this point, you are dying because of decisions you've made. Like change some. So that's what I was thinking.
And just to go off what you said, Tanya, and what Tristan said earlier that they should have a class with facts because people watch that. And if you don't know, you don't know. So some people don't even know that he's lying. You know, so if you don't know he's lying, then you can just believe it.
Windmills kill birds, guys.
We gotta write that down. Windmills kill birds.
Last night by the President of the United States. I was like, no.
Don't save the earth.
Or what about when he said, I don't know who's in the audience right now, but I am the least racist person in this room.
The Afro-Asian woman sitting right in front of him, like, yeah, no. Because she doesn't know nothing about, no.
Well, I'm thankful for the art that is being created right now. I feel like, it's medicine. It's medicine right now because we're literally going through a lot of things as a country. And so the more we can offer our artist medicine to each other, I think the healthier we'll be as a people. So
yeah, and as long as people take that medicine, we'll be good.
Right. People got to take the medicine. That's right.
As long as conch shell prevails, because really, Magaly's platform, with Reset, wanting to reset the world, our country, that is beautiful and that is critical. And to do it through art, through this platform, is fabulous.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for being part of doing the work, doing the fun.
Thank you, everyone.
Fun stuff.
So, and thank you, Christin, Cato, for leading that.
Thank you for having me.
This is the final. Thank you. It is the final performance of the Program A plays. I'm going to miss this motley crew of actors and artists. Our series closes next week with Program B plays, which will be The Arithmetic of Memory by Gretchen Suarez Pena, and I Saw Jesus Into a Baja by Nelson Diaz-Marcano. I would like to thank artists who made Part A possible, playwrights Magaly, Colimon-Christopher, and Juan Ramirez Jr., directors Tanya E. Taylor and Susan Tenney, and actors Tristan Cunningham. Oh boy, help me. Guyviaud Joseph.
Don't help him.
Thank you. Sarah Marable, Tanya Perez, and Jarvis Tomdio. Our production team is stage manager Kira Bowie and Veronica Vera, and editor Andre Sutherland.
We would like to give special thanks to HB Studio for co-producing this event, and to New York City Department of Cultural Affairs for their support, and to our Conch Shell Productions community of donors and audience members. That's you. That's you. That's you. That's you. All of you. May these plays in this series and all the plays that you see, the new works that you're seeing through our organization, and the artist chats that we host and that you participated in, inspire you to have questions and conversations and rethink and break against the status quo after the camera goes black and you go on with your life. If you can do that, then we will have hashtag art that inspires, hashtag art that awakens. We will have done what we set out to do. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be safe, be well, and good night.
Good night, y'all.